Noise for a man who is not my stepfather, but my mother wishes that he was. He's our very own small town cult leader. Don't drink his Kool-Aid, not because there's anything wrong with it. It's just sketchy. I don't know what's going on there.
It's sugar-free, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, I tried it, and the only thing that I really felt was that I wish that it tasted different. That was really the only thing that I felt when I drank it. All right, how is the battle going with Sam Kinison's estate? Are we still rolling on that? Or?
Sorry.
Almost to a compromise.
He's permanently banned from Last Comic Standing because he kneecapped all the other contestants so that he wouldn't in fact be the Last Comic Standing. Please make some noise for Jerry Seinfeld's former boyfriend, Horror Show Jack! It's just like, gotta be, what's up with that? Right?
I have a question. Who is the guy and who is the girl?
Do you really? If you need to ask the question, you do not know me. Or Jerry
There's a video on his OnlyFans. It's called Tony Sticks. So you want to go check it out.
Yeah, the name of our adult movie was called Seinfeld. Does that answer your question, Marcia? So, he's not here now. So well, everyone knows who Bud is. I walked in and Bud was standing right by the door, so I showed him my license and was like, "Why have a doorman when you can have a door dog?" So I wasn't here last week, so I had to rewrite this by saying a week ago, but instead 2 weeks ago, when I left open mic, I went home and I had a dream that after everyone was done, Maverick made me come up for a second set. And it's all the same people, so I have no extra material. So I walk on stage and go, well, this is going to be interesting because I have no notes. And then Ted in the dream said to me, go for broke, you don't have to watch your language. And that's when I knew it was a dream. Also, there were like 15 music stands all over the stage, so I had to like walk around and they kept falling over. And then I woke up and it was just one of those situations where I'm glad that was a dream. It's like every performer's nightmare. Get up here. So, did Marty and the Marauders didn't play tonight yet, have they? Or are they here tonight? All right, well, when they did Tequila 2 weeks ago, I wrote this joke right here. And I realized anyone under the age of 50, if you hear the song Tequila, does it not make you think of Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure? So I learned something last week that I didn't know was actually possible. And rules of the niche do apply for other organizations. Do you know you can get banned from urgent care and next care? I didn't.
Yeah, I'm a nurse.
I didn't get rude with a nurse or a doctor. So back in November 9th, I had a respiratory infection. So I went to get, after my experience with Duke Raleigh Hospital, screw them, 2 days later I'm back at urgent care. And the doctor I saw said, I don't want to give you something because you sound clear. Meanwhile, I'm wheezing, so I don't understand. How can I sound clear? So she gives me a pamphlet and says, call me. If you don't improve in about 5 to 7 days, call me Tuesday next week, and I'll just call the prescription in. Okay. So I go home. I'm not feeling any better. I'm actually feeling worse. So I do what she told me. I called. The person would not let me talk to the doctor, would not give me the option to call back or have the doctor call me, and just kept telling me I have to come in. I'm like, I'm holding a paper with the doctor's notes saying, just call for the prescription. And they got kind of indignant with me. So I lost my temper, and I used words that, due to the rules of the niche, I cannot tell you. But I'll let your imaginations run wild. And I hung up on them, telling them go F themselves afterwards. Well, last week I went, because my allergies were in super high gear, So I'm sitting there for an hour and 15 minutes, and the nurse comes out and hands me a note that is a ditto. Yes, I'm using grade school terms. Remember when it's like, here, fill out the ditto. And it's just this generic thing of, we feel that we can't earn your trust or equal out to the health care needs that you require, so you are no longer allowed in any next care or urgent care facilities. So I looked at her, I'm like, you had to make me sit here for an hour and 15 minutes? She goes, well, it was right on the counter. I'm like, yeah, the counter. When this counterpart comes up and you got the plexiglass, I can't see any of that. So I said, I don't know why I come here anyway, your service sucks. So I went home, but it's bothering me, like, how can you get banned? She was rude to me, that's why I said it. If she just was polite about it, then I would have just turned around and kept my mouth shut. I don't handle rude very well. I'm like Hannibal Lecter. If I believed in killing and eating people, I do believe in killing and eating people. I just fear jail, so that's why I don't do it. But not to mention, to give you an idea of how wonderful the healthcare is at this next care in Cary, Angela had to go there a few months back. My wonderful girlfriend suffers from a condition called POTS, which those of you who are here for her awesome comedy set, she explained. I'm not going to try and tell you what POTS stands for, other than, but she went there and she was not feeling well, and her POTS flared up, and she collapsed in the office. Now, you want to hear about awesome health care? You're not about to. She collapses. They stand over her and wait for her to get up. They refuse to help her up. They put her in a dark room and say, is there anything we can get you? And she goes, I really need a glass of water. After 45 minutes, she texts me. She goes, they've left me. I think they forgot about me. I get dressed. I rush down. As I was working on something, I asked her, do you want me to go with you? She said, no. I'm like, you sure? She said she was sure, so I let her go. Come down. Now it's been an hour. No one's talked to her. No one's given her any water. So I walk over to Big Lots, get her water, Gatorade, and something to eat, because I know she forgot to eat that day. We come back, sit there for another half an hour. Doctor calls, he goes, you need to go to the hospital. We can't help you. And I looked at him like, you can't bring someone a glass of water? Well, we just don't have the ability to give someone water. I'm like, get one of the piss cups that haven't been used and fill it with water.
That's
at least
gross,
tap
but-
water. You let someone collapse in your office. They didn't give two shits. So, and mind you, earlier today, she got 2 bills for that visit. Oh, rest assured they're not getting their money because I'm a kid. So, I get home after being banned. I'm like, this is really sitting bad with me because I don't lose my temper often with people. I know I look like I do, but I really don't. Get rude with people that I'm with, and they're just staying and taking it. Then I get really rude. But never unprovoked. So I call. And they put me through, and I have to leave a message. The woman calls me back. And she's telling me, well, you had an outburst in the office. I'm like, in the office? Yeah, a doctor, the office manager, and the person working the front desk. I'm like, miss, this was a phone call. She goes, what? I'm like, yeah, this was a phone call. And the person refused to let me talk to the doctor. And she goes, well, maybe the doctor wasn't on call the day. I'm like, the doctor told me to call this specific day because that's the day. Oh. And I said, you know what, regardless. I told them about Angela's experience, like, well, I can't really comment on that, big surprise. So I'm like, well, listen, it's not beneath me to apologize when I'm wrong. So she goes, well, here's my email, write a letter of apology, and I'll show it to the board, and we'll see if we can get the ban lifted. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I typed out this beautiful worded apology. I'm not beneath groveling, because it's 5 minutes from my house. Why wouldn't I want to go there? I think I gave you a good example of not to go there. But then I send an email 5 minutes later, I get a ping on my phone. Email doesn't exist. Call. Person I'm talking to doesn't know who I'm talking about. They say, okay, I found out who it is, they'll have them call you back. So when she calls me back, because she was supposed to call me yesterday, there'll be a continuation of this part. But as of right now, I can't go to urgent care or next care in North Carolina.
Remind me to teach you about EMTALA.
They what?
I said, remind me to teach you about EMTALA.
Sounds kinky. Talk to the boss next to you. She makes the rules. So, who remembers being young and going hiking with your friends?
Woo!
Okay, good. I'm like, come on, we're all not that old here. We remember being kids and doing stupid things. Well, let me tell you something I did stupid in 8th grade, because I followed my friends. Not a good idea. We went hiking in this trail up in northern New Jersey, and we're in for about an hour or two, and then the guys are like, hey, let's go off the trail. I'm like, no, that's not a good idea. But I followed them, because why not? We're walking for about 2 hours, and then we come to a part of the woods where there's a Volkswagen Bug and a bus. No road! So I don't know how they got there, and they're all shot up. They don't look like they've been sitting there for years. I mean, they're probably a couple months, but not years. There's not any rust on them, but I'm still to this day, 30 years later, I'm like, how'd they get them there? So we investigate, because we want to make sure there's no bodies, and there weren't. So we continue walking. Then we come across this huge billboard, brand new, white billboard that just says, trespassers will be shot.
Oh, shit.
Did you know you can make your own rules to make murder legal? I'm putting this sign on my front door. So they're all just like, we didn't see that. I'm like, I see it. Because I was the rational one. I know, hard to believe. But back then I was the rational one. So we keep walking, and here's the thing that I thought was scary but cool. It scared the crap out of my friends. There's this double tree, 2 tree trunks, right in the middle, a freshly skinned deer skull jammed in between the trees, upside down, and my friends are just like, I'm like, yeah, you see that? You see that? I'm like, look up in the trees, I think I see the predator. And I kept messing with him the whole run, like, dude, you got 3 red dots on your shirt, and he's, what? My friend spun around so much he fell. So then, we keep walking, we find what we thought was civilization. It wasn't. It was like this abandoned town, boarded up windows, cars with no wheels up on cinder blocks. So I always get stuck on one word in my beds. So we keep walking, we find this one weird looking guy, and we're like, excuse me, sir, and he just and runs away from us. We're 8th graders. And they're scared of us. So we keep walking, then we reach suburbia, civilization, thank God. This yuppie on a 10-speed goes flying by. My friend goes, hey, what town are we in? He just goes, Wanacue. I'm like, my friend goes, oh shit. I'm like, what's wrong? He goes, we keep walking, we're gonna end up in upstate New York. I'm like, this is why I don't want to follow you guys anymore. So we find a Grand Union in the shopping center. That's how old this story is. And we call my parents to come pick us up because my one friend, his mother's never home, didn't give a shit about him. The other one, he came from a rich family, so we told him what we did, he'd probably get his ass kicked. So we call my rational parents. My parents are on their way. My friend's like, will mom, dad take us out for ice cream when they get here? I'm like, my parents had to stop what they were doing to come pick up our dumbasses. The last thing they're gonna do is want to take us out for ice cream. They show up, my mom's like, hi guys, you guys want to go for ice cream? Making me look like an idiot. Thank you, Mom. So, this is a horrible story, but I used to be a musician. I used to be a singer, but before that I used to play the drums. So my sophomore year in high school, my friends are having a jam session. They invite me over, so my parents pack my drum kit up and we go to my friend's house. We're having a jam session, and then we're all tuckered out, so the guys want to go drink. We're all 16. I was not drinking. Yes, I know, hard to believe, but no, I wasn't drinking. We go downstairs, and they're like, hey, sit in that chair. And I'm like, the recliner? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So I sit down, and they're like, reclining. And I'm like, all right. So I recline. And they're all looking at me like, he's like, do you feel weird? No, I feel comfortable. Do you feel cold? Guys, we're in a basement. Why are you asking me these questions? He goes, oh yeah, Derek's uncle shot himself in that chair. I'm like, you! Words I cannot say at the beach. Love my friends. I have all my life up until my late 30s, early 40s, I always had friends that either they just bust chops and was like, hey man, if I didn't make fun of you, it means I don't like you. And I've looked at people and said, you know what, I think I'd prefer it better if you didn't like me. So I used to work in an off-Broadway production called Fools in Love in New York City. I was a stagehand and the audio engineer for the production. And their all the sound was just put the CD in, press a button. Cut. couple buttons for the lights, that's it. And there's two stories that to this day, when I think about them, they make me cringe. Because there's this one scene, because Fools in Love is a 1950s doo-wop version of Midsummer Night's Dream. Brilliant. I was there for almost a year every time I saw the production. This cast, both versions, the afternoon cast and the night cast, always made me laugh. They were phenomenal performers, and I miss them. And they're in this one scene where they're all dancing with Oberon and everything, and I hit the button twice by accident, so I skipped the one track, and it went right into this musical, so I had to switch right back. And the whole cast, they're like, hey. And then I see the guy who plays Oberon, who just, he looks like a wrestler dressed in a leather jacket, not too far-fetched from what we see today. And he just looks at the booth, and he's like, huh? I'm like, and the rest of the production went off without a hitch. The other one, there's this scene where Puck is making all the teens fall asleep, and there were 3 twinkles. Well, she gets to the third person, and I felt so sorry for this girl, Brandon. She's walking all over the stage, doing this, and the girls like keep going, oh my God, I'm so sleepy, and the twinkle wasn't working. I hit it 5 times. On the 6th time, if it did not work, which it did, I was literally going to get out of the booth, open the door to the back of the theater, and just yell it, Twinkle! That was one of the only thing I could think of, because I didn't know what to do, because I couldn't fix it. So those are stories that haunt me. Another story that just makes me laugh. I used to work at Tower Records.
Yeah.
Yay, overpriced CDs. So when you leave Tower Records, when you decide to move on or quit, if you do that on good terms, they have you sign the wall. So I was friends with everyone. I worked there for almost 2 years. So I had this huge tribute to everyone there. First was to my manager, Joe, who was at a conference in California. While he was walking around shirtless on the beach, and he kind of looked like a short Stone Cold Steve Austin. So he's walking around and he told me, and this really hot girl comes up out of nowhere and licks my nipple and walks away. And I looked at him like, did you follow her? And he goes, no, I figured I'd let it end there. And I'm like, so I wrote in big letters, Joe, when the beautiful woman licks your nipple, you follow her. The other, and this is the one I got in trouble for, to Tommy, the true queen of Tower Records. Now, let me explain why I said that. Tommy is gay. And, yeah, right? There were 2 gay men there, Tommy and Gino. And I'm on break in the back room once, and they're both sitting down, and they're like, come here, we got a question for you. I'm like, okay, who do you think is the true queen of Tower Records? And I just looked at Gino and I go, Tommy, hands down. And he goes, why? I'm like, because from the moment I met him, I knew he was gay. He literally was 6'2", spiked hair, old school punk rock guy, and he talks like this and always walks with his hands up. So the stereotype of what you would portray as a gay man, this was his embodiment. It was no disrespect to anyone who was gay or him. That's just who he was. And he goes, well, why not me? I'm like, for 6 months, Gino, I didn't know you were gay until you came up to me and said something that I'm not allowed to say at the niche. Because he literally, we always used to do jokes, and I used to tie my flannels around my waist, the old school grunge thing. So the guys, our humor's like, yeah, look at my butt, So I did that, and Gino just did this one thing, he's like, and walked away. And my friend Joe comes and he's like, Gino's gay, right? I'm like, no, he's not. He was like a short jock, always well dressed, okay, but very masculine, looked like the kind of guy that could get any woman he wanted. Because he was very polite, very well mannered, nicest guy you can meet. It was really shocking when I saw him get walked out of the store in handcuffs when he got caught for stealing. But he walks by and I do the shirt thing to him. He pins me up against the counter and says, one of these days I'm just gonna hurt you. I'm like, I walked to the break room like this. I was terrified. Because this is how tall he was compared to me. And he scared the crap out of me. Now, the day I quit Tower Records, because I was just done with their bullshit. I'm a huge Guar fan. So I ripped open a Guar CD, popped it in the overhead, and I marched out of the store to the last song in the album that came out in 1999, We Kill Everything. It is Doinking an Animal. A word I can't use. It's not really doinking, so you know it wasn't. I marched out. And I called one of my friends and I, did anyone say anything about the song I marched out to? And they're like, no one noticed. I'm like, I'm such an unseen rebel. So, this is a special list I wrote up for Maverick because he likes when I do lists. And this was a hard list to write, and when I tell you the title of the list, you'll understand. Things I like about getting older. Things I like about getting older. Every 10 years I've noticed I'm a decade younger. When I was 30, 30's the new 20. When I turned 40, 40's the new 30. So I'm like, when I'm 50, I expect to be 40. So if I make it to 100, I'm assuming it'll be, 100's the new 75. I'm like, I'm gonna live forever. Gray hair isn't so bad. Especially when a good-looking woman just says, you're like a silver wolf or a silver fox. I'm like, I'll take it. Some people even think I know what I'm doing. I am just like you, making it up as I go along. My favorites are now the classics. That's cool and hurts at the same time when you hear like Guns N' Roses referred to as classic rock. It's like, ouch.
That's ridiculous. They're barely rock.
You know Nirvana's considered classic now too, right?
Sit down.
Well, are you telling me Nirvana isn't good enough to be considered classic?
I'm not old enough for that.
Yes, you are. Deal with it. We're all getting old.
Hey, wait, hold on. Did you know that today I saw that the Violent Femmes are going on tour to celebrate the 40th anniversary of their debut album, The Violent Femmes!
Now I'm going to say to you what my mother said to me when Iron Maiden's Dance of the Dead album came out. They're still alive?
That's what I
I love the
said!
Violent Femmes.
They were punk in the 90s, right?
Another thing I love about getting older, and I know this guy's used this line, is that you get to say the phrase, boy, I'm old for a reason. I haven't gotten to say that yet seriously to someone, but there's a level of respect you get getting older. I'm still waiting. Things you took for granted that you did 20 years ago surprise you that you can still do them now.
Where's Bud?
Wow, no one's proud of that one?
Let's took him home.
I get to
was
say
ready to go
things
that
like,
day.
I remember that, or even better, I was there. I think the biggest, the two biggest significant things in my life were Desert Storm and 9/11. I'm not proud. Oh wait,
I'm waiting for the person
proud
that sent me
moment
a
for
special.
the Black president. I was there.
I went to it early.
Oh God, the Challenger, yeah. I was in second grade. It didn't impact me until I saw the documentary. It's like, what? Hey, you want to know something creepy about the Challenger? You know what celebrity was supposed to go up in that with them? Big Bird. Can you imagine a whole bunch of grade school kids just watching Big Bird get blown up? This one's kind of morbid, but you think about all the people that you grew up with who are no longer here, and you get to think to yourself, I'm still here. I've done something right. And the things I plan to make my plot, because I'm a dick, when I write my will, I own 2 snakes, and one of them is a boa, and I'm pretty sure the thing's going to outlive me, because they can live up to 65 years. And it was only 3 years old when I got it, when I was 37, 38. So it's going to outlive me. So whoever I'm friends with and is terrified of snakes, guess who's getting the snakes in the will? At my wake, I'm going to have 13 people dressed up as the Grim Reaper in the back of the room. You're all thinking, why 13? Because I opened my mouth about this idea, and there was only supposed to be one. And a bunch of my friends stood up and go, Why can it only be one? I'm like, all right, all 13 of you can be the Grim Reaper in the back of the room. But then I made a pact with them. If they are still capable, and if they're not, their children have to. Because I know legally you can have a Viking funeral, but I know I'll probably never really be able to afford the permits for that. So they are to break into the funeral home, steal my body, find the nearest body of water, and set my body ablaze. My name is Andrew, and I'm HSJ. Thank you very much.
Hey, Marvin.
All right. That's what I'm talking about.